everybody, welcome to my YouTube. I'm Jen. Today I have the watercolor cards and markers from Cricut. It's a fairly new item, came out just a couple months ago, but I figured now is a perfect time if you're shopping for the Cricketer in your family to get this product for Christmas or holidays or birthdays. So what I wanted to show you, I did actually get these from Cricut. And just say that first. So I'm not paid to do this, but I wanted to show you these cards, and they did kindly send them to me to share with you. I am going to use my Cricut Joy today because I thought I would see if I could create one of their watercolor designs using my phone and my Cricut Joy, just to show you how easy it can be to make a card for any occasion. Say you're going to a birthday party or a Christmas party or New Year's party and you need something in a flash. These are amazing to add a personal touch because they came out with the watercolor markers. They do have the ones for the Joy, as well as the Explorer and Maker family. If you look, there are 8 colors in there and a water brush. So I will show you how to use the water brush, but it's actually pretty cool. And it's the same for both. The only reason they're different is the size of the markers. So the Cricut Joy has a different size than the typical markers. So we're going to put that aside. They also have watercolor cards, and I do have a couple out here to show you. We're going to use the one that actually says Cricut Joy on it, because the others are just a little bit different on the card mat. So on the card mat, this is 4 3/4 by 6.6, and we don't have that as an option on the Cricut Joy mat. However, they do have a mat for the Explorer and Maker products that you can use this on. Same with this one. This is 4 3/4 by 4 3/4. Well, these actually do fit. The problem with this is if you were to center your design in Design Space, it would possibly be off-centered because it goes over and it doesn't fit in the design measurements. So it does go over and doesn't quite center properly. So keep that in mind when you're buying things like that. If you have the other machines, absolutely you can get any of these, as well as the markers for the other machine. If you only have the Joy, you'll want to get these. So this is the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card. That's the one we're going to be using today, and then this one's just a little bit bigger. So you can also cut them down to size, or get them and use them for the watercolor paper. The other thing I wanted to point out is they are not bright white. They're actually, if you can see, you can't see. They're actually kind of a cream color. If you look at the envelope is a bright white. So you see the difference in color on those. So keep that in mind if you're looking for a bright white card. That's not this. This is kind of a cream card, but it's a very good watercolor card. It's very thick. Very textured. It looks really good. So what I'm hoping for, well, I'm not hoping for anything. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the plastic, slide this in there, and then we will get on our phone app and create a design from their library of designs. You can tell I've used this mat a few times. And we'll see what they have on there. And then just know you can also create your own designs, projects, things like that using the watercolor markers. So you're not stuck at anything. You just want to be able to do the writing. So if you can change it to write, you can use it in here. Just keep in mind, oh, that markers bleed. If you've never watercolored before, I highly suggest playing with the watercolor markers just by drawing out, just to see how they're going to react, because they do bleed into each other, which I absolutely love. I do watercolor quite often and a lot of mixed media, so this is hopefully a solution for people that maybe don't draw very often and want to watercolor, or even a solution for somebody that just needs something quick and easy. But I absolutely love it too, and I do watercolor, so keep that in mind too. Maybe you will too. I will move our little friends that came out to say hi to us today and pull up the app, and let's see what we can create with this watercolor card. Okay, the first thing, let me get back. The first thing you notice when you open up Design Space on the phone is it actually does, let's zoom in a little bit. It actually does look a little bit different than on the computer. So whether you're an Android or an Apple user, it is still going to be slightly different. So just keep that in mind. But I absolutely love the app because it's got like recommendations for you. It's got a bunch of recommendations, and one of them I saw is watercolor cards. See that one right there? So I'm going to select the watercolor cards and see what it comes up with. And that's actually the image that I see everywhere of the hot air balloon. I really want to try that one. But you can see on here your first watercolor card, and it's got all of these images that are specifically designed for this watercolor. There's so much you can do with this, but those are specific designs that are already created for you. Also, the ones that look like this are cards already created, and then these are images, so you can create them yourself. The ones where you see people's name, that is a project that they shared on the website for you, which anybody can share projects. So it just tells you how they did it, and then it'll have links or codes to what images they used, things like that. So we have our first watercolor, holiday watercolor, celebration, just a note, nature, that I love that succulent, food and drink, beach vibes, astrology, animals, sports. They have so many in here. I'm actually going to, what should I do? Should I do the hot air balloon? I think I'm going to do the hot air balloon just as my first one, only because I've seen this image everywhere and it's in all their advertisements, so I really want to do this one. And then you pick your card size. So my card size is actually going to be the Cricut Joy size, the R20. And then you can customize it if you want to add anything, if you want to add words, anything like that, but I'm just going to go ahead and make it. So I did not do this correctly. So what I should have done is selected that I'm using the Joy. Machine selection you want to pick is up there, and I want to pick that I'm using the Joy. And then I'm going to go back because I did not save that. So I'm going to pick watercolor cards, my first hot air balloon, select a size, R20. It says remove the protective matte cover, slide back black, I can't talk today. Remove protective matte cover, slide back side of card under plastic divider, which we already did, aligned card on top left corner of plastic, which we did. Close the card, press firmly, and then we are going to insert when prompted. We're going to tell it we're on a card mat, and it's already centered on there. See that? It's already centered on that. So material size, you can change the size if you want, but we are going to use the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. We want to mirror it if it's iron on, but that doesn't matter here. Hit continue. I'm gonna pull out a little bit so you can see the Joy. So this is already on. So here we're going to, it's going to draw all of those, and this is going to use 4 colors, or 5 colors if you include the brown. So I'm going to hit continue. I'm going to connect the Joy. I'm connecting my Joy that's already turned on. Okay, so now I'm connected, and hit continue. I'm already connected. There we go. I have to click on it. There we go. And then I'm going to select the material. The material is watercolor card. Then it's got some tips using the freehand water brush if you want it. You don't have to use the water brush, you can use water and a paintbrush, but I'm going to show you how to use the water brush. Then it says to load the orange. So we've got to get our orange out. And it will walk you through each color. If you had a cutout, it would walk you through cutting it out. So you just take the top off, open up the joy, remove the blade if you have the blade installed, push in the pin. Let's see if that's in far enough. Okay. And then load the mat when this is flashing. It's going to do its thing and then tell us to switch colors. Hit go. So next is green. Brown. You can switch up these colors if you have one in there that you don't want. Say I wanted this to be black, I could put black in there instead. Next is red. And last is yellow. Okay, so the water pen is fairly simple to load. You just twist this off and fill in the water. Then when it's full, cap it back on. Now you're also going to want something to dry the tip off with. So I watercolor often, so I have a watercolor napkin here. Okay, so you want to unload it. And I'm actually going to start another one because I want to show you another way that I would, oh, this is the wrong side. I would like to do cards like this. It might be too messy for some people, but I personally like it. So, for lack of a better word, I like the messy when it comes to watercolor. So, I'm going to show you how to make a messy watercolor one too. So, I'm just clicking Make It Again. Putting this on the mat, pushing it down, changing the colors. Just gonna measure everything again. I'm gonna hit go. Oh, orange first. Whew. here I'm going to use black instead of brown, just because I can. Switch up the colors however you want. I did orange in the video. Messed it up a little bit, but that's okay. Okay, two ideas I have on what I would do is, number one, fill it in just like it's intended. So with this marker, I don't need this anymore. You fill in the inside and leave the outside open, because if you do it on the outside, it's going to bleed a little bit. You have your washcloth or napkin or whatever close so that you can dry it off if the marker gets too wet. Hold it upside down, squeeze just a little bit to let the tip absorb the water. And I don't like a lot of water, at least not at first. So wipe it off if you have too much, anything like that. You also want to start with your lightest color first. And you're just going to color the inside, touching the outside to pick up all your any of your colors. So if you want more color, you touch more of the marker. If you want less, you just touch a little bit of it. Cool thing with this is you can also go back afterwards and write whatever your sentiment is, happy birthday, whatever, so that after everything is totally dry, you want to make sure that nothing's still wet. You can also use the marker to add more colors, add more definition, shadow, anything like that if you want to. And then you use your marker to help you, or to clean off itself. So you just squeeze it a little bit, let it clean off the color in between colors if you want to clean them off. If you don't want to clean them off, don't worry about it. Just keep going. That's part of the fun with watercolor also. So like the orange and red. Yellow and red is orange, so I can go ahead and do this. And the lines, the lighter the line's going to get. So if you don't want to see lines, you can just wipe them all out by keep using them. You do not have to do the watercolor part right after you draw, so this would be an amazing project thing to do with children. You have the machine draw it, and then you give them a watercolor marker or a watercolor pen, or water and a paintbrush, and you just say, here, color this for Auntie. Auntie Jen likes to have cards from her niece or nephews. Hint, hint, if you're watching. So it's very fun and definitely a good project with the youngins. And then just wipe it off a little bit and it's nice and clean again. If you want extra color that you don't have, you have a couple options. You can take the marker that you're using and draw another line. You can add shadows. I also have a trick where you take plastic and you color on the plastic just like this, and then you use your water marker to pick up that color, and then you color with that. So say you want something to be darker than what you were getting with the drawing, you can absolutely do that. It's a great way to add shadow. There's actually a lot you can do with watercolor. You can add salt inside of it and it'll give you like these little blooms while it's wet. You can, while it's drying, add saran wrap on top of it and it'll give you some cool textures as well. So definitely so much you can do with these. I can take this and color in there if I want, just to get some more details. Don't be afraid to color upside the line. That is a cool thing with watercolor. A lot of people are afraid of the blooms. If you leave too much water in a spot, it will leave, I'll show you, it will leave what we call a bloom. It's just where the water is running inside of that piece. I just dropped one there, so we'll see when it dries. I'm not afraid of the blooms. Make sure you embrace the blooms. I do really like this effect though. And you can also go back with a black marker and outline it, or a white marker to add highlights. Obviously you can have the Cricut write stuff on it. While that's drying, I'm going to show you what I like to do with watercolor. So try not to move that so I don't mess up the bloom. Instead of coloring it, I'm going to spray it with water. And what that's going to do is it's going to make it go all over the place. Hold on, I don't want to do that. It's going to make it go all over the place and it's going to look cool. So watch this. I'm going to start at the top and go down because that's black. Of course you need a better spray bottle than I have apparently. You can add as little or as much water as you want. Know that the card will warp, that's okay. You can also, if you're worried about the warping, spray the other side with water and it'll flatten it out. I'm going to do a quick dry because I want it to dry in place. If there's any parts you don't like, let's hold that down. If there's any parts you don't like and there's too much water there, you can just pick up the color like this. I don't want that line at the top, although I don't mind it, just to show you. And this is a bloom. Do you see that? It's still wet. Do you see that area that's light compared to the rest of it? That's because I dropped water on there. Embrace the blooms. And here I did a light spray on top of where I had already colored, and you get the speckled effect. This next part, make sure it is fully dry before you do. So wait some time in between it before you take the next steps. I'll be back. Okay, for this next part you are going to need another marker pen, some sort. We're going to do just a black one. Black glitter looks really good too as well. And then we're going to go back into design space and we're going to pick any card, anything you want to write. So any sentiment. I'm just going to do, let's see. So I'm going to go to images and I'm going to look for something that fits what I'm trying to do. This one says don't just fly soar. I really like that one. Like that one. And let's see if we can find an actual fly. Fly away, fly something. So I am searching images right now, just looking for something that will work for these two cards. I think I like that one. It says fly away, whisk me away, take me away. Now you can layer watercolor on top of each other. So I absolutely could do one of these with a watercolor marker and then color that. The colors will bleed together, but if you're putting a black on top, it won't actually matter too much. It actually might look pretty cool. Nice day for flying, that would be nice. The Tinkerbell's on that one though. Today is a good day for a good day. So that was my friend Sarah. She runs a YouTube called Learn to Craft. Definitely check her out. She's got a really cool watercolor card tutorial as well, where she shows you how to use the design to color underneath and then add vinyl on top. So definitely check that out. She does an amazing job. Also, we run a ton of Cricut groups, so feel free to join them. The main one that I manage is Cricketing for Beginners. It's actually Cricketing and Crafting for Beginners. So join that. We do giveaways all the time. Cricut sponsors giveaways. We do a machine quarterly, and then I do either a monthly giveaway or I combine giveaways and do big projects. Like I just gave away one of these little lights. This is the Bright 360. I love this thing. And I just gave it away to a lady that absolutely loves it. She's won one of our machines in the past. So definitely check us out. Cricketing and Crafting on a Budget. And we also have Cricut for Beginners, Cricut and Silhouette for Beginners. We have a ton. So definitely check us out there. I'm going to do one that says enjoy the day and one that says don't just fly soar. So these are, what size? These are 4.5 by 5 1/4. So I need to make sure they're not too big. So I'm going to do about 3.5 wide. Let's see. This one's about 3.5 and 1.4, so that's good. And then this one's going to be smaller, so about 3.5, maybe 4, because it's got the butterfly on it. Okay, I actually forgot one thing. I forgot to change this to go away. I forgot to change this to a drawing, not a cutout. So let's change that. So we're going to hit edit, and then we're going to change this from basic cut to a draw. And then you can change the pen type. So this is a fine point 0.4. So it's black 0.4. I picked that. And then you'll see that it changed it, which is perfectly fine with me. I don't mind the outline. I usually just fill it in the inside myself. So sorry I forgot this. Fine 0.4 in black. It's going to be so small anyways. And then you hit make it on a mat. And then it won't let me change the material size. So I'm going to actually go back and hide one of these because I only want one at a time. Settings. So I'm going to go back on a mat. Here you go. So when you're on this page, you can hide it, rearrange it, anything you want. So we're going to hide this bottom one just for now. Oops. And then we're going to move this down so it's about halfway through. So you can do this more official if this card needs to be exactly. You can get a template so you have the right size and place it, and then just combine the two so that you know this is the right size. But I'm going to eyeball it about 1.5 from the top and about a little bit more than that, about 2 from the bottom, because that butterfly. So it's going to be about here. I want it to be way over the balloon. And then put the same card back in the mat. It is completely dry now. It has been quite a while. And see, there's that bloom in there. I don't care. I like them. That one's a little bit of an exaggeration, but the ones down here actually are a little more realistic, how they kind of bloom out there. I need a new mat. Put my black pin back in. Hit continue. Connect my joy because I disconnected her. I'm going to pick watercolor again because I didn't favorite that. And then it's going to tell me load my pen, load my mat. Just checking that it's big enough and then hit go. Possibilities are actually pretty endless with this. When you're done with this, you could fill it in because, as we know, drawing just does the outline. You can fill it in with this marker. You can fill it in with a different marker. You could watercolor on it. You could vinyl on it or put paper on it, anything like that. There's a lot that you can do with these. Makes crafting pretty fun. I definitely enjoy these cards. And I will be making Christmas cards here shortly with them. Okay, when it's done, you unload. And I think it looks perfect. I don't know. What do you think? Should I fill it in or should I leave it? I really like it. So I'm going to do the next one because I picked out a good one for this one too. The watercolor markers, you can use them as regular markers also. Just make sure you don't get any water near it. So if I wanted to fill these in using the watercolor marker that is currently under it, that would be a good solution. Although I could have just used the watercolor marker to draw on it, but unload. And there you have it. I'm a mixed media girl, and as such, I noticed somehow we got a little bit of a gray on the outside. I'm sure it was my fault because the pin is high enough it shouldn't have. I think when I pulled it out, I marked it. So what I'm going to do, and I just wanted to show this to you, is you can add whatever you want. So you can definitely make this more than just a card that was printed on your machine. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to just make some cool doodles on the outside, which I tend to do in my art journaling anyways. If you watch my art journaling, you've probably seen me do this once or twice. It's a good way to cover up mistakes, but also it's pretty pleasing to the eye if you do it right. So there you have it. Let me know in the box below which one's your favorite. I haven't decided. I'll put it in the thumbnail what I decide, or I'll put it right after this if I decide to fill these in with black or if I leave them as they are. Again, thanks for watching.